mowing season is with us again, so I've been looking at one or two new innovations in mowers, and the manufacturers are turning their minds very seriously to conservation matters. First of all, what they want to do is to reduce or even eliminate the amount of fertilising and top dressing that you have to do, and incidentally to save you a lot of labour, by recycling the grass cuttings into the soil. Now, you all know that if you just leave the cuttings on the top, it has two snags. First of all, it forms an impervious thatch on the top. And secondly, of course, those cuttings tread all over the living room carpet. But with these mulch mowers, it's a different story. What happens underneath this casing is that the grass is first of all cut, and then the cuttings are thrown upwards. Now, as they come down, they're cut again into very small pieces. And the casing is shaped so that the airflow actually pushes the cuttings right down into the base of the grass, where they're very quickly recycled. Now, as you'll have guessed, there's one snag, and that is that they are quite expensive, ranging from the most expensive at £789 right the way down the range to £280. Now, the other very important issue that the manufacturers have addressed is the amount of energy that's used. And they've come up with a whole range of battery-operated, rechargeable mowers. Now, all you've got to do with these when you finish mowing is to plug them into a power source and recharge the battery. And that uses a minute amount of electricity. Now, they range in price from £349 to £470. And the other great advantage with them is that they're very easy to use. All you've got to do is to press a button, lift a lever, and away they go. Now, the other problem that these mowers solve is that of noise pollution. They really are the quietest powered mowers that I think I've used. But some are quieter than others, so try them out first. And if you're spending this sort of money in any case, you should always ask for a demonstration. But there's no doubt that the greenest way of all is the old-fashioned way with the good old push mower. They use no energy at all except our own, and that keeps us fit. They're relatively quiet, and what noise they do make is quite pleasant to hear. And they cost between £40 and £60. But they do have one snag. As far as I can gather, they're all made these days with side wheels instead of a roller, which means that you can't cut right up to the edges. Now, if you want to do that, then you'll have to do as I did, go down to the local auction or the farm sale or the car boot sale and buy it second hand. This one still has a lot of life left in it, and it cost me just a tenner. Now, the flowers that are brightening all our lives at the moment, of course, are the spring bulbs, and I love the fresh appeal of the daffodils. But there are no bulbs more extravagant than the hyacinths, and of course they have a long history.
In the 18th century, hyacinths would be the equivalent of orchids today. Only the truly rich would probably have had them, and rather similar to the Rothschild's azaleas nowadays. Consequently, they were highly prized and bred to extend the colour range from pale pink to blue, and now you see we have this wide colour range from almost black into yellow. No one is certain how the hyacinth first came to Britain. One theory is that it came through Vienna to the Clusius Garden at Leiden and then into England, but the other, that possibly it came through the Spanish Armada with free access to the seas. Our traders went to Constantinople and brought it back directly. 100 years ago there were 2,000 varieties. Nowadays only 100. The amazing thing is there is only one commercial grower left in the country trying to hold together what varieties still exist.
I was just a small arable farmer, and I got interested in growing hyacinths as a crop about 11 years ago. I then developed an interest in all the range of varieties, got some from Wycliffe Botanic Gardens and some from Ripley Castle. Now I've got about 110, and I'm one of the national collections. For the last 5 years, I've had open days for members of the public to come along and see them. Now, at one time, in the early 1800s, believe it or not, there were about 13 or 1400 varieties of double hyacinths. There are only 3 or 4 dating prior to 1900. This is one of them. It's a lovely sea lavender blue, fully double. This was introduced in about 1878. Its name is General Kohler. Here's the old orange boven from 1870. Still with us, still available from the specialist bulb sellers. Here, ladies and gentlemen, we have an old variety, Marie. 1860 it was introduced. It's still available from very, very specialist nurseries. The pale blue one, which I think has got to be my favourite. I believe there was just a clump of those growing at Berlin Botanic Gardens for about a century, and that probably is the only pure stock of that variety anywhere in the world. Over there, the blue one, that is the old King of the Blues, dating from 1875. Still available. It's Violet Sport, Queen of the Violets. It's Pink Sport, Queen of the Pinks. And just coming out over there, a double sport of Queen of the Pinks, which is Pink Royale. You've heard me talking about sports. Well, a sport is when there is a natural mutation